Today we're testing 2 keto-friendly chip recipes because Sarah and I really love chips. And so do most of you because you guys are constantly requesting this. You're always asking us which chip recipes are the best. And a lot of you guys are sick of pork rinds. For the last couple years, we have been turning these Mission low-carb tortillas into chips. And we know that they're dirty and we know that they have flour in them and we know that they potentially raise your blood sugar temporarily. So we have been searching the internet looking for some viable replacements for all of you. Will they beat out this? I am not sure. So before we start making our chips, we are going to make a dip. And this is one of Sarah and I's favorite dips. It's super easy to make. We're going to show you our recipe for a crab Rangoon dip. So don't worry about writing down the ingredients or anything. We're going to have this on our website, Keto Twins, linked in the description. To a bowl, I've added 8 ounces of softened cream cheese that I've put in a microwave for about 30 seconds to get it nice and soft. I've added in half a cup of Parmesan, half a cup of mozzarella cheese, half a cup of sour cream, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, half a cup of mayo, and 2 6-ounce cans of bumblebee crab meat that I have drained. So we're going to add our mixture to a baking dish, and we're going to add a layer of mozzarella cheese on top. And while that's cooking for 25 minutes at 350 degrees, we're going to talk about the sponsor of this video, Element. Element is a delicious, tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything that you need and nothing that you don't. That means lots of salt and no sugar. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Sarah and I drink Element every single day because it makes us feel great on our keto weight loss journey. That's because when you go into ketosis, you shed a lot of water, and inside that water are your electrolytes. This can leave you feeling fatigued, have headaches, muscle cramps, and more. Element replenishes your electrolytes so that you feel better, and it is literally the best tasting electrolyte supplement that we have ever tried. We love all the flavors, especially the citrus salt, raspberry salt, orange salt, and grapefruit salt. Right now, Element is offering our community a free sample pack with any purchase. It looks like this so that you can try all the flavors. That's 8 single-serving packets free with any order from Element. This way you can try all the flavors or share some with a salty friend. In order to get this deal, you must go to drinklmnt.com/ketotwins. Thanks so much to Element for sponsoring another video on our channel. Sponsors really do help keep our channel going, and thanks to you guys for supporting our sponsors. So it's been 25 minutes. It's done. It smells amazing. We're going to put this aside and we're going to keep it nice and warm in its container while we make the 2 keto-friendly chip recipes. The first one is the one that Sarah's going to make. So the first keto-friendly chip recipe that we're going to be testing out today is by Kirby's Cravings. We're going to be leaving a link to this recipe in the description below. It only really has 2 ingredients, so it shouldn't be hard to remember. One of those ingredients is cheddar cheese and the other is almond flour. It's kind of like a fathead dough, but instead of using mozzarella like most traditional fathead doughs use, it's using cheddar cheese instead. I have 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese in a bowl. I'm going to be placing that in the microwave for about 10 to 20 seconds, watching it closely. We want that cheese to melt and kind of form like a nice shiny consistency. I've never made fathead dough with cheddar cheese before. I'm kind of excited to see what the consistency is going to be like. So what you do is you mix it until it becomes nice and smooth. Definitely smells like cheddar. And then you're gonna go in with 1 cup of fine almond flour. So you're gonna wanna work quickly when you're doing this step because the cheese is gonna become harder to work with. And if that happens, pop it in the microwave, which I might have to do right now, for a couple of seconds just to warm that cheese through again. Place the dough ball between 2 pieces of parchment paper and roll it out to a 1/16 inch thickness. And then you're gonna cut the dough into 2-inch triangles and place them on a prepared baking sheet. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to shape my chips into triangles and then carefully transfer them to a baking tray that's lined with parchment paper. So here are my chips. I think they're looking really good. We're going to put them in the oven at 350 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes, but we're going to keep a close eye on them. So I'm going to check on them in about 10 minutes. The timer has gone off. It's been 10 minutes and let's take a look to see how they're doing. Ooh, I think they're done. What do you think, Emily?
Looking very good.
Or do you think that you want them all to pop like that? I don't know.
I don't know.
The ones in the back look way darker, so let's pull them out. So this is what happens if you go a little thinner. This is what happens when they're thicker. I'm going to leave my chips to cool off to the side, and Emily's going to start with our second recipe that we're going to be testing today. The second recipe that we're going to try today comes highly requested. It's by Joe Duff, the Diet Chef. He's got a great YouTube channel, very popular, And the reason why we picked this recipe is because you guys mentioned it and wanted us to test it. Also, it doesn't have any cheese in the dough, so we figured we could go kind of like a fathead dough situation and then one that doesn't have cheese in the actual dough for the chip. We are going to leave a link to this recipe in the description below because it's not our recipe. We're just trying it today. But we're going to go over what you're going to need for this recipe really quick. In the recipe, he does say that you can use other types of flour like walnut flour, which is interesting. I don't think I've ever tried that before, in case you can't use almond flour. So definitely check out his recipe if you're looking for substitutions. We're using xanthan gum in this recipe, which acts kind of like gluten to hold it together and make it stretch. If you don't want to use xanthan gum, he says that you can use guar gum. Well, I've never used guar gum, but a lot of people ask if you can use those interchangeably, and I do believe that you can. To a bowl, we've added in our almond flour, our xanthan gum, our salt, and basically all our dry ingredients like our baking powder, and we are whisking that together until it's completely combined. Xanthan gum is kind of tricky to work with because it can clump easily when it hits moisture, so you want to make sure that the xanthan gum is completely distributed before you add any kind of liquid to your recipe. Next up, we're going to add in our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients, and he did make a point to emphasize that you should be whisking your egg thoroughly before adding it into your dry ingredients so that it doesn't leave any streaks of the yolk or anything. We're going to mix this together with a spatula. I'm going to pour this onto a piece of parchment paper and I'm going to work it together into a dough. Joe Duff is a great example of what a chef should be. He measures everything out in grams and is very precise. We are not. So hopefully this recipe turns out okay. I have sectioned off the dough into 4 balls and we are going to be pressing these out to form a circle. And then we're going to be cutting them into triangles like the other recipe. The interesting part of this recipe that differs from the other recipe is he actually cooks the chips in the microwave for about a minute before he goes on to the next step. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put these chips in the microwave and you should be able to get about... You have 4 balls. You have 8 chips per ball. You have 32 chips. They're a little hot, be warned. So I'm going to toast these up in a pan for about 30 seconds to a minute, flipping them over and so that they get a little bit of brown on both sides. And then we're going to go downstairs and we're going to try them with our crab Ringoon dip. I'm super excited. So here we have the 2 keto chips that we're trying today and our crab Ringoon dip that is cheesy and wonderful. It smells great. That's why Henry is here. Maybe we'll just try them unadulterated or no?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Let's just try them without anything on them. So here's the recipe that Sarah made by Kirby's Cravings.
I like it. The texture is crumbly, but it doesn't fall apart, which I am happy about, considering it's only 2 ingredients.
Kind of reminds me of a Cheez-It.
But not overpoweringly like a Cheez-It. I feel like it's gonna taste good with the dip.
So this is Joe Duff's recipe. It looks a lot lighter in consistency. It didn't really brown that easily, probably because there's not like fat in it to brown. Let's give it a try.
Not as crisp as the other one with the cheese in it. More neutral, definitely. Maybe we needed to toast it a little bit more, because I feel like there is some moisture left in there that we could have gotten out.
Yeah, it's very plain tasting, but you know what? A chip is just a vehicle for
flavor.
Right, for flavor. A vehicle to Flavor Town, you know what I mean?
Henry wants one, he's trembling.
These are definitely more crispy than that, but this has that fat of the cheese inside there. That one doesn't really.
Maybe if we toasted this up with a little bit of oil. I know that he probably wanted to save on those calories and stuff, but like just adding a splash of avocado oil or something would have helped them brown a little bit more in the pan. And we also didn't season these at all. Some of the recipes did say like you can go in with some garlic powder or, you know, ranch packet or something to really add some more flavor into the chip. But we didn't want the chip to be like overpowering because we do have this dip coming up that we're super excited about.
Shall I serve you? So here we are.
So I love crab rangoons. It's definitely something that I miss on keto. And this was just easier to make. This is just simple. You just kind of toss all the ingredients into the bowl.
Bake it and serve like at least 5 people with
this. This would be great for a party, bringing to a party, a potluck, or something
I've made
like
this
that.
for a party and it was gone within like a couple minutes.
You can have the keto-friendly options for you and your guests that are keto and then have some regular chips. It satisfies both parties.
This is traditionally served with wonton chips, which are wonton wrappers that are deep fried. It is hot.
Tons of flavor. Definitely reminds me of a crab rangoon that you get at like a Chinese restaurant. So delicious. Creamy. This is like a meal in itself, honestly.
You know, a lot of people would say to use lump crab meat in this recipe, but that's very expensive, and we just use the canned stuff, and honestly...
Tastes great.
Tastes great.
So I really like these chips. I think that they're really great, but say that you don't have any time to make them. Cucumbers sliced up work really well in dips. They're really neutral, and they don't taste like much. They're just like a vehicle for flavor. I also enjoy bok choy or celery. So there's definitely some veggie options that we use as chip replacements when we don't feel like making chips.
These have actually impressed me. I wouldn't have thought that I would like them as much as the low-carb tortilla chips, but honestly, I would probably make both of these again over the low-carb tortilla chips. You want to be a bit cleaner on your keto weight loss journey, and I can understand that. And if you like this video, you'd probably like this video where we tested 90-second keto-friendly bread recipes. It's a really fun video. Go check it out. Anyway, I'm Emily.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Keto Twins, signing out.